Hello everybody and welcome to a Fire Emblem 15, Fire Emblem Echo Shadow of Valencia 15-minute tier list. The show will make a tier list in 15 minutes, and you all rage at my horrible decisions in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video if you have liked the series so far. We are almost done. It's going to be this and then 3 houses. Still not sure if I'm doing it by route or not. But anyway, let's go for it. Afterwards, we are going to do who knows what. Have some other plans for it. But here we go. Fantastic unit overall. Gets double lion with the royal swords. Can use bows and get hunter's volley with a killer bow. I will say, I will not rank everyone as if they were having always their best stuff, because the best stuff is basically, hey, villager fork everyone into being an archer, get them to bow knight, and give them a killer bow. But if you just do that, then you're missing out on quite a bit of other variety, quite a bit of other niche utility that certain units can give, as well as you're not going to have a killer bow for every single unit if you're playing through the campaign normally, if you're not grinding up golds or abusing DLC. Speaking of which, the DLC characters are here. I will talk to them as much as I know them, but I will not heavily consider them, because when do you consider them actually joining? Because you can play this DLC basically at any time. Anyway, let's get on with it. Great unit. Celica, pretty okay unit. I will say I'll probably only give her A tier. Might even drop her down to B. I think a lot of people drop her to B, but I think she's worthy of A tier because she just has enough overall. And really, Celica's root, who you give the Holy Sword to, is going to be your S tier unit there. So for instance, I feel like Saber is great. Highly defensive, good offense, good speed, just has everything you really want in a bulk unit around an army of mages. Speaking of an army of mages, they're good, they're solid through the campaign. They'll kind of fall off and start becoming like one-note nukes, but they're reasonable. They're decent units enough. They just kind of start doing less as you get more universally effective units, like your Pegasus Knights. I would put them in S tier, and I'd put Est in B tier, because she takes that training to get... Actually, maybe I'll put her in A tier. Controversial move, Shadows of Valencia Est is the best Est. Because she doesn't come in that underleveled. Pegasus Knight is pretty easy to level in. Get it, good experience, give her a decent weapon, she'll kill things, she'll get experience, she'll promote into Falcon Knight, get all the base stats. And she has like 12 base resistance, which base resistance means a ton in this game. Est is great. Est is fantastic. She's a wonderful mage killer, wonderful just unit all around. And if you can get her to that promotion, that's the hard part. But getting her to the promotion isn't even that hard. Claire, unfortunately, even when she gets her Falcon Knight promotion, is still solidly mediocre. Atlas can be surprisingly good. Just put him as an archer, again. Atlas, for me, has always been designated archer with high strength. Give him Hunter's Volley, and then his low, everything else doesn't matter. I just snipe everything out from 5 range. But because that's his only trick in the book, that's all he gets. Also, sorry that all these images are cut off. This is the best tier list that I could find, apparently. Leon's probably B tier. Valbar is like C tier. He tanks. He's really important for a couple chapters, and then he might as well not exist. Delthea is a fantastic nuke mage, but you get her pretty late, and she doesn't have like a super broken mage ring to really exploit. Nor does she have Excalibur in her toolkit, if I remember right. Has some fun stuff to play with at higher levels, but through the campaign, basically from booting up to killing Duma is what I'm considering this. I'm not considering Thebes in this, because that's gonna change up the math a lot, and basically just turns into who are you gonna pour experience into, who are you gonna pour points into. Lucas, I've always found to be an amazing unit. I'll probably leave him at A tier, though, because as soon as you start facing mages, his viability drops off a lot. Clive is just your average B tier, nothing too special, nothing too horrible. Faye really depends on what you make of her. I'm giving her A tier, assuming that you make her into a cleric. But if you make her into a I don't even know if she can be an archer. If you make her into any unit that's not a cleric, she immediately is like C tier. But if you make her a cleric, then she's A tier because rescue. Eventually she gets basically dance in a spell form, and that's cool, but uses up all our HP. But rescue, A tier. Good cleric, second cleric is great. Jenny, I find Jenny to be overall less useful of the clerics. Still has a good niche because she's surrounded by mages that she needs to heal, and she at least gets experience from healing. But I think she's only really as good as your best mage, and once Celica gets healed, then she has Physic. Jenny has Physic. Jenny has a lot of good stuff going for her. She's not a bad unit, but she's not going to be the... She's not going to be a unit who defines your strategies, such as Silk, because her warp defines your can define your strategies. Sonya, I've always found to be a solid unit, having Excalibur at base. Everyone loves, not Ryuto, Luthier. Everyone loves Luthier because he has Excalibur at base, and then everyone forgets that Sonya has Excalibur at base. She's a pretty solid unit. The unfortunate thing is that Dean is an even more solid unit and is just fantastic. I'll put Kamui up there. Meme tier over here, just because he comes in so late and so underleveled, but still not that hard to level him up. Forsyth, much as I love you, you're not a great unit, and Python, you're not much better. That's the sad truth of the matter. Matilda, she really is defining as any of these other units? I don't think so, but I think she's definitely top of A tier. Conrad, D tier for being a horse in the middle of a swamp. Conrad, I'm like, sweet, I have a paladin now, have some bulk now, and then you succeed to never be able to effectively use him except for in the Lost Woods. Not a great unit. Speaking of not a great unit, Mycin, you get him and then you're immediately locked out of using him because is he really going to be one of your 10 units that you bring in? I didn't think so. Zeke joins in pretty late, but I still give him A tier because as a free gold knight, he's in a great unit. Noma is kind of mediocre at best. That leaves the Village Idiots. Cliff, Tobin. Actually, no, it doesn't leave them. Luthier is a B tier as well. Luthier is basically Sonya with a worse spell list, but without the competition that you have to pick Dean instead, and a little bit better bulk. I personally believe that Priestess is a better upper class than Sage, but it's also hard to say because Sage still has some decent stuff about them as well. I don't know. They're weird. I don't really think he's that great, but I'll give him B tier because I don't think he's that awful. But yeah, that leaves the Village Idiots and the DLC group, and Tatiana, who has Fortify. Comes in late but has Fortify, so how can you not give her, like, you know, decent status? Gray, Tobin, and Cliff. All these units, once again, depends what you make them. Because I gave Faye A tier, I think I have to give A tier to all of these guys. Some would argue Cliff is actually probably more B tier because while he was kind of the prodigy and the better one in Gaiden, in Echoes, he doesn't really have as much special going on for him. His spell list, while decent for attacking spells, that lacks the utility that someone like Tobin's has. He doesn't have the very good, easy promotion that Gray has. He just kind of struggles a little bit. But I'm hard-pressed. Actually, no. You know what? I will put him in B. Someone has to be the worst villager, and I guess it has to be him because he doesn't really have anything special going for him, unfortunately. Gray, while you think would be the least special of them all, is actually really good just because he has the ability to promote after like one level. And then you have the DLC characters. I think actually that it's their weapons that are more special than them themselves, because their weapons have their special combat arts, like the solo triangle attack and whatnot. They're fine. I haven't used them as too much in the story, and I'm not really going to count them as being fantastic. You could get them pretty early, and they can be pretty decent, but you're more going to want them for their weapons than themselves. And even then, you're not really going to be super happy with them. They're interesting, at least, if nothing else. But yeah, that's the overall tier list. Would I change anything drastically? I don't believe so. Would I really put Cliff under Claire, under Tatiana, under May? Did I really put him that low? Like, I'll give him top of B tier. I don't know. I don't know. He just... Again, most of these units are not bad units. You can use whoever you want, and it's gonna be great because it's echoes. The problem comes in, you know, when you're trying to differentiate the actual power of these units, it's gonna be a hard time. I still have like 3 minutes left. Why not? Let's tier within tiers. I think that seems right to me. That feels reasonable to me. Again, everyone's gonna lynch me for putting S so high up, but I think she's actually a pretty good unit. I'll put her bottom of A tier, but I still think she is a good A tier unit. Yeah, that looks fine. B tier, just for more availability. Yeah, that seems right to me. C tier. The DLC is going to be bottom of C tier just because I don't know where else to put them. Python sucks so much. But he is in one of the best classes in the game, so I can't fault him that much for it. Yeah, I guess that's reasonable. And it hurts me to put Forsyth in D tier. It really does. I think he is actually probably worthy of bottom of C tier. But that's also just my bias because I just love his character and I love using him and I think it's fun. But I have to accept when he's just not a good unit, because if you take the time to train him up, what do you get? Another contemporary with Lucas, who is a good unit by his own rights, but he's only really good because he's going to be over-leveled compared to the rest of your group, because with the villagers, he's top dog, and then he proceeds to be a knight, and then be pretty decent, and by the time he starts to fall off, he's a baron, and then he suddenly shoots up in viability again. Meanwhile, with Forsyth, you get him, and he's under-leveled, and so you try and raise him up, you get him a knight, and then you start fighting mages, and you can never really get him to Baron, where his overall bulk and stats carry him through. Yeah, just mages being mages are his downfall. Is he unusable? No, nobody in this list is unusable. I think that pretty much everyone in this list is at least worth deploying if you want to. They can always at least do something. But again, like I said, I have to admit, some units make a bigger difference or bigger impact or have more important niche abilities or spells or whatnot than others. And that's just the way it is. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This has been a 15-minute tier list. I hope you have a wonderful day. Join us next time for 3 houses. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Mythral Zenith signing out.